Hey World History, welcome to U15-L3 Basics of World War I, Part 1. Can you believe it? This is the last unit of the semester. You're probably like, oh thank gosh, I don't have many more of these videos to watch. That is correct, because this is the last unit, but there is a lot of videos in this unit. But that's okay, because it's better than reading a textbook. So, your job is you're going to watch this ed puzzle, you're going to answer the questions I will ask you during the video today will be in blue text. Follow along with your study guide. Important concepts on the study guide will be in red text. If you have any questions, email me or Mrs. Hinkle. We're here to help. So learning targets describe the social, political, and economic causes and consequences of World War I. All right, so first let's look at this calendar for today. So this is the calendar for the next 6 weeks. Yeah, that's right. It literally goes to the end of the school year, which is hard to believe. So here we are in week 1. We are right here on U15-L3, Basics of World War I, Part 1. I know there's 3 parts to this. So next lesson is going to be U15-L4, Basics of World War I, Part 2. Then you go on to do Part 3. Next week, we'll have a primary source reading, which is the Diary of the War Nurse reading. Now, you will open up that document and you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is so long. What the heck? Why did you assign us this? It's not that long. There are just pictures throughout the reading that make it look longer than it actually is. Okay? Then after that, you're going to do the World War I video choice, which is like what we do every unit. And then this is a little bit tricky. So since this unit is so large, I put in 2 study guides. So right now you are currently working on U15-L1 study guide. Now that study guide covers World War I stuff. Okay? So, and that study guide will be due May 12th, which is a Sunday at midnight, like normal. Okay? Then there is the part 2 to the study guide. So that's U15-L8. That's going to cover all the World War II stuff. That is not due until June 2nd, which is right down here. Okay, so after you get that study guide, you'll go on and we'll talk about basics of World War II. We'll focus in on Japan as well. And then we go into kind of building up about the Holocaust. I know all of you probably have learned about the Holocaust before, but it's always important to learn about it again. I chose kind of a documentary that's a little bit more modern. It talks about more like modern day lasting impacts of the survivors. Then we go into The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Now, that is the movie that you all voted on like a month and a half ago on what you wanted to watch for this unit. So there we are. Then we'll wrap that up with the Holocaust in today. Then after that, we'll go on to World War II, North Africa. That's just a short little video from the History Channel. On Monday, May 27th, you don't have school, so yay. Then we'll do the video choice, and then we'll wrap up Unit 15 with a video about British spies and like the technologies British spies use, which I think is kind of cool. Okay, May 31st is a study day, and then we come into the last few days of school. Okay, so June 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Now, like last semester, if you were with me last semester, we did not have a cumulative final. All it was just the unit test. It's going to be the same thing this semester. All it is just going to be the unit test. There is no cumulative final. It's just the Unit 15 test. And that's just about World War I and World War II. Okay? That will be due on Wednesday, June 5th at midnight. I'll let you know if there's any changes to the calendar, by the way, since it's 6 weeks long. It's kind of hard to plan that far ahead sometimes. So here's my first question for you. What do you know about World War I? And you should know at least something because you all did the U15-L2 reading. All right, so World War I. As you can probably tell by the calendar, we spend a lot more time on World War II, which is okay. We don't spend as much time on World War I. But before we start on World War I, we have to kind of go back a little bit farther in time, all the way back actually to 1871. So here's a map of Europe in 1871. You can see there's some similarities to today, but also some differences. Like Germany is way bigger. Austria-Hungary is also way bigger. There's this thing called the Ottoman Empire, which we will talk about in a few slides from now. So Ottoman Empire is like the really huge, massive empire that I never talk about. And I feel kind of bad about that. So the Ottoman Empire was an Islamic empire from 1299 all the way to the end of World War I, so about 1918, 1919. Yeah. Is this like massive, long-lasting empire. I'll show you a map of the Ottoman Empire a little bit later. So they are important to note that they are right here. So let's talk about some tensions in Europe. So in Unit 13, we talked about imperialism. So due to imperialism, countries were fighting each other over colonies. Okay? So the European countries wanted to get the best and the most colonies they possibly could. And that led to battles between countries. So, to win a battle, a country had to have the best weapons, they had to have the best army. And this leads to something called an arms race. Now, an arms race, usually you hear about that in the Cold War, but it's happened throughout history. But pretty much what the basic definition of it is when countries are in competition with each other to have the best weapons possible. So then the arms race leads to something called militarism. Militarism is when a country has a large army ready for war at any time. So Germany, Great Britain, Austria-Hungary, Italy, France, Ottoman Empire, and Russia, they all had militarism by the early 1900s, which means they have huge armies ready for war at any second. Now, all they needed was a reason to fight. All right, let's switch over to Germany. So, Prussia's Chancellor, Otto von Bismarck, which is this dude right here, he unified all of Germany in 1871. You can see here on the map, there's the border of Germany. So, Bismarck did not want to grow Germany's borders. He was very satisfied with the size of Germany, which was very rare among leaders during this time period. So, Bismarck used his leadership to bring peace to Europe, which is pretty cool. So he believed France was actually the least peaceful out of all the countries because he thought France wanted revenge on this one war that happened. It's called the Franco-Prussia War that happened between Prussia and Germany and France. I won't even get into it because, whatever. So, to stop France from seeking revenge, Bismarck wanted to politically isolate France. So, this is how he wanted it to go. He wanted to become allies with all of France's borders. So, all the countries that surround France, he wanted to be friends with. Because he thought if France had no allies, France couldn't go to war. Because if they went to war, no one's there to back them up. So as you can see here on the map, here's France right here. So countries that border France include Spain, Italy, Switzerland, Luxembourg, Belgium. Okay, so Germany is like, if I become friends with all of these countries that border France, then France will never go to war because they don't have any friends. So Bismarck was pretty successful with it. He was able to become allies with Italy and also Austria-Hungary. So Italy, Austria-Hungary, and Germany become known as the Triple Alliance. But things change. In 1888, Kaiser Wilhelm II, this dude right here, he becomes the leader of Germany. And he's pretty much the opposite of Bismarck. He is super power hungry. He also forced Bismarck to resign from politics. Unlike Bismarck, he wanted to expand Germany and to pretty much start war with anyone he wanted to. Okay? He really wanted to show off Germany's army. So Russia saw this happening. They saw Germany building up their military strength, and they're like, this is a little suspicious. So in response, Russia makes allies with France. Okay? And remember, France and Germany hate each other. So looking at the map, why would Germany not want to fight a war against France and Russia at the same time? Yeah, because if they go to war at the same time, Germany would have to fight two fronts, okay? They would have to fight Russia in the east and France in the west. So Kaiser Wilhelm II also focused on building up Germany's navy. So at that time, Great Britain had the strongest navy by far, but Wilhelm wanted to challenge that. So Great Britain saw Germany building up their navy fleet, and they're like, oh snap, Germany's up to something. So Great Britain decides to become allies with France and Russia. And also this would help protect against the potential German invasion. So Great Britain, Russia, France, become known as Triple Entente. And Entente means understanding in French. So now we have two fractions in Europe. We have the Triple Alliance, which includes Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. And you have Triple Entente, which includes France, Russia, and Great Britain. All right, next we're going to talk about the Balkans. So the Balkans is a region in Europe that is important, but I feel like I don't think we've ever talked about it besides Greece. So the Balkans are in the southeast part of Europe. It's important, as I'll explain in a few slides from now, because it is on the border of the Middle East. Okay. It also is still on the Mediterranean as well as the Black Sea, which is right here. So here's more of a zoomed in map of the Balkans. As you can see here, they include countries like Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Albania, Greece, Macedonia, Serbia, Romania, and Bulgaria. So another really important thing to learn about the Balkans during this time is that Ottoman Empire that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. So like I said before, Ottoman Empire, they're from about 1299 to about 1918, 1919. Again, they were this massive empire. I believe next slide I will show you a map of the Ottoman Empire. So the Ottoman Empire actually controlled most of the Balkans since 1299. So as you can see here where it's kind of like those magenta lines, that would be areas that the Ottoman Empire ruled in the Balkans. Okay? So, like I said, Balkans are in the southeastern part of Europe. They border with the Middle East. They were under the Ottoman Empire since 1299, which I mentioned before is a giant Islamic empire. And in the empire itself, there's a mix of different languages, religions, and other cultural aspects because the Ottoman Empire spanned from North Africa through the Middle East up into Europe. So a lot of different cultures it's crossing. So the Balkans included nations like Bulgaria, Greece, Montenegro, Romania, and Serbia. But it's also really important to note that the Balkans also border with Russia, as well as Austria-Hungary, which is going to come into play for World War I. There's also waterways such as the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. All right, so talking a little bit more about tensions. So there's high tensions due to the powerful surrounding armies around the Balkans. So again, Austria-Hungary and Russia. There's also a mix of religions. It's an important route to the Middle East. There's important waterways. The Ottoman Empire by the early 1900s was starting to dissolve. Okay, it was starting to fall. Russia, Austria-Hungary, and Serbia all saw that the Ottoman Empire was getting weaker, and they wanted to jump in and grab as much of the Ottoman land as possible. So like I said before, the Ottoman Empire is this giant empire. As you can see here, it goes from North Africa through the Middle East all the way up into Europe. So Serbia, which is this country right here, wants to unite the majority of the Balkan countries together. So another important thing about the Balkans is most of the people living in the Balkans identify as Slavs or Slavic people. So Serbia's main goal is to make a unified Slavic country. So Austria-Hungary is really, really mad at Serbia because Austria-Hungary does not want all these countries to unite. Austria-Hungary wants to take over the Balkans for themselves. Russia, which is right up here, is really mad at Austria-Hungary for interfering with Serbia. So Russia, which is also a Slavic country, supported a unified Slavic country. So in 1908, Austria-Hungary takes over Bosnia, which is this region right up here. So Bosnia is mostly Slavic people. Serbia is like, what the heck, Austria-Hungary? Bosnians are Slavs. They're not Austrian. We want our land. So Serbia takes revenge. So the heir to the Austria-Hungary throne was this dude right here, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Spoiler alert, he gets assassinated. So in June 28th, 1914, Ferdinand and his wife Sophie, they're going to visit the new capital of Bosnia, which is Sarajevo. And remember, Austria-Hungary just took over Bosnia. And in response, this Serbian, he's 19 years old, his name is Gavrilo Princip, he shot Ferdinand and Sophie point blank, killing them. As you could probably imagine, Austria-Hungary is super mad at Serbia for killing Ferdinand. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia in July 28th, 1914. And here's the catch. When one country goes to war, its allies also go to war. So who else were Serbia's allies? And who were Austria-Hungary's allies? I'll show you. So, like we said before, Austria-Hungary is right here. They are allies with Germany as well as Italy. Serbia is allies with Russia. Now, Russia is also allies with Great Britain and France. So that automatically makes Great Britain and France allies with Serbia. So now there are two factions of Europe. There's the Triple Alliance, which includes Germany, Austria-Hungary, Italy, and Triple Entente, which includes France, Russia, Great Britain, and Serbia. To make it even more confusing, there's a name change with both of these sides. So the Triple Alliance, which was Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy, changed their name to the Central Powers, which kind of makes sense because they're in a central location in Europe. Triple Entente, which was Russia, France, Great Britain, and Serbia, changed their name to the Allies. So the name change is really confusing. So here's a quick quiz to make sure you are keeping up. So the Central Powers include what countries? That's right. They include Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. And what countries are the Allies? Yep, Great Britain, Russia, Serbia, and France. But wait, it gets even more confusing. So Italy, which is down here, haven't really talked about them. So they are super mad at Germany and Austria for starting World War I without Italy's consent. They're just like, what the crap, Germany and Austria? You just started a war without me and now I'm in it? So as revenge, Italy decides to leave the Central Powers and join the Allies instead. And they do that in April of 1915. To make it even more confusing, let's throw in an Asian country. So you're probably like, what the heck did Japan want to do with World War I? I will tell you. So Japan also wants to join the Allies. So the reason for this is because Japan wants to spread their imperialism to China. Japan pretty much wants to take over China for themselves. So they're like, this war, if I join the Allies and we defeat Germany, I'm just going to take over all of Germany's land in China. So that is exactly what Japan did when they joined the war, okay? They wanted to take control of Germany's territory in China. So now here are the new sides of World War I by 1915. So on the Allies, we have Great Britain, we have Russia, we have France, we have Italy, we have Japan, and we have Serbia, which is such a small military that they don't really do anything after starting the war. And then with the Central Powers, we have Germany, we have Austria-Hungary, we have Bulgaria, we have the Ottoman Empire, or at least what is left of it at that point. And the US hasn't even entered the war yet at this point. So there's even more players coming in pretty soon. So World War I was not known as World War I when it happened, okay? World War I was only called World War I once World War II broke out in 1939. People during the World War I era called it the Great War, or the war to end all wars, which of course, as you probably know, was false. And World War I lasted from July 28th, 1914 until November 11th, 1918. So World War I would become known as what is a total war. Now, there are 4 aspects of a total war. First aspect is a country devotes all of its resources to the war effort. Second aspect, manufacturing goes from domestic products, such as cars, radios, appliances, to making war supplies. Another aspect of total war would be any able-bodied worker would work in a factory or some way to support war efforts. And the fourth would be drafts for male soldiers to go to war. So today we talked about militarism, Triple Alliance, which then changed the name to Central Powers, Kaiser Wilhelm II, Triple Entente, which changed its name to Allies, and Total War. So next up, you're going to watch U15-L3, Basics of World War I, Part 2. Keep filling out the study guide. Of course, if you have any questions, confusion, want to learn more, email us. We are here to help you, okay? All right, thanks for watching. Bye.